Cheers, man.
Cheers.
So, Austin, how does this taste? Oh, sorry, wait.
Why you gotta be like that?
Yeah.
So, for those of you that don't know, I was sick last week. I actually had COVID 3 weeks ago. 4 weeks ago. Last week I had a cold, and so actually I think my voice is a little bit different right now too.
Yeah, a little bit.
It's a little bit more gravelly.
It's okay. It's much more attractive.
But I lost my sense of smell and my sense of taste.
Yeah.
For the past probably 3 or 4 days. I'm fine, but yeah, I don't taste anything.
Yeah.
And
so when you drink this, like, do you feel anything?
it's got like like it almost tastes like I'm drinking tonic water.
Okay. Dude, that's dangerous because if it's like you're drinking tonic water, this is gonna hit
I could
you.
drink this whole bottle and like not even notice I'm drinking alcohol.
Crap, man.
Like, it's crazy. It's so weird because this is like the first real time I've completely lost my sense of taste before. You know, it's like you get like a stuffed up nose and it's like you can't really taste stuff, but you can kind of taste stuff still. I have 100% no taste.
Man.
Right? And I didn't notice that I didn't have any taste until the other day when I ordered Domino's and like I love Hawaiian pizzas.
Yeah.
And so I was really excited. It was my last day of work for the summer. And I was like, all right, you know what? We're going to celebrate a little bit. We've been eating good food. And so I talked to my wife and I'm like, we're going to order Domino's. And she's like, all right, great. So I get the pizza and I finally put it in my mouth and I just tasted warm.
Yeah. Tasted warm.
Tasted warm. And I was like, what the hell, man?
Yeah.
Like, I know Domino's isn't like a super really fancy pizza place, but like, you know, it's still
you should
pizza.
taste something.
It's pizza, right?
Yeah.
And it just sucks.
Yeah.
Like we had curry earlier. Curry was like, it was tasting wet warm.
Really? Oh man, that's
So it's just
that
like,
curry is really good too.
it is good curry.
Yeah.
Man,
Man,
so
that
I don't know.
sucks.
I've actually kind of thought about it'd be funny to like just kind of screw with my body a little bit and be like, well, I guess we can't taste anything, so I might as well just like drink vinegar and you know
You might try that.
just do some really wild stuff. Like the other night we were having somen,
Yeah.
which is cold noodles. It's a kind of a traditional summer food in Japan, right? And usually with somen you have wasabi that you put in. So wasabi's like horseradish, right?
Yeah.
And so I was trying to prove to my wife that I couldn't taste anything. And so first I took a big glob of it and I put it in my tongue. And I was like, nothing.
Nothing.
Not even a sensation.
Ugh.
And I'm like, look, you want to see something crazier? Watch this. I took another glob and I put it up my nose.
What?
So I snorted wasabi. Nothing. No reaction at all.
Dude, there's no irritation? Was not itchy at all?
You see, that's the crazy thing.
Yeah.
I expected there would be, but it's just like, I never knew that there was such a strong connection with scent and taste.
Wow.
Like, without scent, you can't taste anything.
Dude, that's
it's
wild.
So weird. It's so
wild, man.
weird.
Yeah, that's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a shame that you can't try this great sake that Tomoko got us.
I know. I feel so bad.
I know.
You promised me you were going to get bad, like, just cheap sake.
We'll do that for the next one. But speaking of that, you know, so for example, 皆さんこれでやっぱりファンのともこさんからいただいた日本酒で本当は美味しいんですね。I promise you, this is really delicious.
It's great. This great tonic water.
他になんか飲んでほしい日本酒とかがありましたらぜひ有料コメントスーパーチャットで残していただければ We'll use that money to buy the sake. So よろしくお願いします。
Yes.
Yeah. So today we are gonna, speaking about food and taste or whatever, we're gonna talk about weird food that we've had in Japan. So food that probably is kind of normal, but we feel is weird.
So I want to jump right off the bat.
Dude, you're mixing your idioms right there. Jump right off the bat.
Jump right off. What is it? What is it normally?
I don't even know anymore. You just
jump right off. Yeah, I just want to jump right off
into
something.
it. Jump right into it.
Jump right into it. There we go. Basashi.
Basashi? Yeah.
Raw horse meat.
Yeah.
Right? If I went home and I talked about the fact that I love eating raw horse meat, people would look at me like
you're a barbarian.
Some kind of like disgusting like monster.
How could you do that?
Yeah. I love basashi. And it's just like I think honestly there's nothing wrong with eating horse. I think there's just like a cultural aversion to eating like what Western people would consider as pets.
Yeah, right. Your food, like, you feel that way about eating dog. You know?
Yeah. So for me, like, when I think of like, you know, I don't like to use the term weird, but like unfamiliar like Japanese foods, like that's the first one that like just immediately comes up as like, because if I talk to somebody at home, like when I talk to somebody, it's like, oh yeah, look at this strange fish that's being served up. It's like, okay, well, you know, of course you're eating sushi. It's like you're gonna get some like weird fish thing. But it's like horse?
Yeah, that's a whole new thing.
Yeah.
I mean, no, I really get that. I feel like, you know, the definition of what's weird is totally different. Because one thing that actually surprised me when I came to Japan and I had real, like, authentic Japanese food, the thing that really surprised me was just how much slimy stuff there is in Japan.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's like, it's not just like slimy thing. There's a lot of really, really soft food here. Yeah. Like, I don't know what it is, but like there's really no like, of course there are exceptions where you have crunchy or like kind of hard food that you need to chew, but compared to like other countries, I feel like there's a lot of soft food here. Yeah,
honestly, you know, especially now that you bring up like crunchy, like nothing really comes to my mind when I think of like crunchy food here in Japan.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's like, you know, traditional foods here, it's like, you know, if you want to go the sushi route, like raw fish is still kind of, I would say more skewed towards the soft, slimy side of like the spectrum.
Yeah, right.
Like any form of rice is gonna like skew that way. You know, red bean paste, mochi, like all that kind of stuff. Yeah, that's a really good point.
Yeah, and like so, one of the things that really, I think, can be like the representative of this. Yeah, like the, and if it's a food that took me a while to get used to eating is tororo.
What is that?
So tororo is the grated yam that's like the slimy stuff that you put on top of rice.
Okay.
Stuff. Have you never had it before? If you go to Negishi, where there's like the gyutan restaurant, they'll give it to you, so you can get that, or you can get it with soba too. It's basically like what it is like you grate yam on like an oroshi, right? Okay. And the yam kind of congeals into what I can describe as a mucus. And I use the word mucus because when I first saw it, I really did think it was like a mucus thing. I'm like, oh, is this food? It's like white and lumpy and it's slimy. And when you pour it in, it doesn't just go in directly. It's kind of and you know, I like it now. I put on my rice when I have it. There's no problem. But when I first saw it, I was like, holy crap, is this even food? What is this?
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah.
You know, something that took a little bit of getting used to for me here also was not necessarily raw egg, but how much not fully cooked egg there are in dishes.
Yeah.
Because I think you know, coming from America, usually when I'll have eggs, like don't get me wrong, I like my sunny side up eggs, right? But I'm going out of my way and asking for sunny side up. You know what I mean? Like I expect in other egg dishes for the eggs to be like fully cooked, right? But when you come here, I mean, you can get the what's that? Onsen tamago.
Onsen tamago, yeah.
Yeah, you can get that, which is it's literally just it's like a boiled egg, but it's not boiled to the point where it hardens up. Yeah. Right? When you get a lot of egg dishes, like if you're getting gyudon or like a rice and meat bowl, you know, usually crack an egg and put it in, and it's like you gotta mix that up. The egg doesn't really cook it. It kind of leaves like a slimy texture on everything. Right?
Yeah, right.
So it's like even the food itself, if it doesn't have that, like people will often add in egg just to get that sensation.
Yeah. You know, one thing that was really interesting for me, and I noticed this after I got married, is my wife would always make scrambled eggs super runny. And I would always feel like they were half cooked.
Oh, interesting.
And when I would make them, she's like, Arthur, these are disgusting. They're too dry.
Gotta put some milk in.
And no. But even if I did that, because
Yeah.
what she was talking about was the fact that it was fully cooked and there was no runny bits in it, you know?
That's so... I can't imagine like scrambled eggs. Like
Yeah. No. But
they're not
you
supposed to be runny.
No, but they're a little bit runny. So like
Yeah.
if you tilt it, they don't like crumble. They just come, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
you know? And it was just funny because that was really another time when I felt like, oh, you know, a lot of traditional Japanese food is slimy.
Yeah.
And, you know, coming, especially for American people. So I feel like especially in the United States, people are really picky with their foods.
Yeah.
Like in Europe, people tend to have a more flexible palate, but in
Sure.
America, it's like, no, I can't
Yeah.
do this. And so for like a lot of Americans, they would hate a slimy texture of food, but there's so much of that here.
Dude, I mean, even in American style food here, you will see it.
Like what?
A perfect example is fried chicken.
Okay.
So, you know, you have fried chicken here in Japan, or what it's usually called is karaage, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think you can go to a place in the world where people don't like fried chicken.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to say as an American I like fried chicken. Everyone likes fried chicken. But Americans like dry fried chicken.
Yeah.
Right?
Crunchy.
You get
crispy.
that southern like herbal dry like crunchy fried chicken.
Yeah.
And it's like that's what Americans like.
Yeah.
Right? That's what I like.
Yeah.
And when you come here in Japan, it's like, don't get me wrong, the fried chicken in Japan's pretty good.
Yeah.
But it's juicy. It's slimy, and it's like, you know, I would actually say that it's probably a bit undercooked.
Yeah, and the coating is a little bit soft.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so you'll even encounter that, like I said, you'll even encounter that texture in like traditional like Western foods.
Yeah.
Right. It's just kind of interesting how that I wish I knew the term for slimy in Japanese.
You could
Do you
say
know
what is neba neba?
Neba neba.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Well, neba neba is like natto kind of slimy.
Yeah.
Like,
not quite there, but like kind of the same kind of texture-ish, right?
Yeah.
But that is such a foundational like texture.
Dude, if you want to talk about that though, that just made me think about bacon.
Dude, bacon's the same way.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh my god, man. Okay, look. Oh, you want to upset?
I've unleashed the beast.
You want to upset some Americans here, because look. Once again, just like I said with karaage, the bacon here's fine, but let's call it for what it really is. It's ham.
It's ham. It's ham.
The bacon is ham here.
Yeah.
Like you'll get these bacon, and they'll be super thinly sliced, and they'll just be limp.
Yeah. Yeah, it's limp. It's juicy, you know. It's not that bad. But
like I said, I don't dislike it, but it's ham.
Yeah.
Like if you talk to an American about what bacon is, right? I think it would actually turn off a lot of people here in Japan.
Yeah, of course.
Because when Americans like bacon, we like burnt bacon.
Yeah.
We like it crispy. We like all the carcinogens added on, like everything that's unhealthy on the bacon.
Yeah.
We want that on the bacon.
Yeah.
And we want it to be hard.
Yeah. No, like seriously, like you can like take it and you can hit it against the table and it'll shatter.
Yes.
Like that's what we want.
Yeah. You want to bite down and you want to hear that like
Yeah.
You know, that's what you think of when you think of bacon. And I've got a theory.
Yeah.
This is me doing man theory right now. I have no
Man
basis.
theory, okay.
Man theory. So, you know what man theory is?
No, what's that?
So, let me mansplain man theory to you. But man theory is when it's like when a guy talks about something and he sounds like he knows what he's talking about, but it's just all bullshit.
Okay.
So let me explain to you my man theory on this.
Okay,
right?
sure.
America was really into dry foods because back in the 1800s, we didn't know how to preserve foods. We were still learning how to get farms and everything running up in the US. And so it was a survival technique, right? So people were turning meats into jerky and carrying it over to the West Coast and everything, right? So I think as a culture, we
Yeah.
tend to prefer dry foods,
You know that
specifically like on the salty side.
you know that makes sense.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah, I mean, so when I think about why is it that slimy foods in Japan are so popular, it's because honestly, I feel like the slimy texture is closer to the natural state.
Yeah.
And in Japanese food is all about like traditional Japanese food is all about natural taste as it
Completely
is.
agree.
you know?
Yeah. It's like when you like how much food when you're talking about Japanese cuisine is cooked. And I mean
Yeah.
like fully cooked, not
Yeah.
just like heated up to like change the consistency, right?
Yeah.
But not much.
Yeah.
Right? Sure, some of it,
Mhm.
right? But not a lot of food here
Yeah.
is like fully cooked,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah, and I mean, it also, I think it goes to, like what you said before, is that American people really like black on their food, like
Yeah.
the charred
Yeah.
stuff. So like, because I remember, this really hit me when I went to Wakayama with my team recently to just as like Shain Ryoko, just as like a corporate trip, whatever,
Mhm.
and we did a barbecue.
Yeah.
And I had to grill the vegetables a lot less than I wanted to because
Sure.
there couldn't be any charred marks on them.
Yeah. Oh man. It breaks my heart. It breaks my heart.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
but I know what you mean. It's like, onions, corn.
Yeah.
How are you going to grill corn if it's not going to be black on it?
I know. You want the black. It's funny because, like, in all fairness, like, I understand how Japanese people think about this, and it makes total sense. It's like that's just carcinogens. That's gonna encourage cancer in your body, and I get it.
Yeah.
It just tastes really good. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, even in like, what is it in like Louisiana and in the South, you have like blackened whatever. Like you'll have like blackened steak or blackened whatever, and
Yeah.
that's purposely burnt food.
Yeah.
because it tastes good.
Yeah. Yeah. I actually feel like it's kind of interesting that I feel like kind of a connection to Korean culture
Okay.
in that sense.
Yeah.
Because if you look at a lot of Korean culture,
Mhm.
like just right off the top of my head, bibimbap, right? It's
yeah,
burnt
bibimbap.
rice,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so like when I go to a Korean restaurant here in Japan, I actually like that kind of hits like a little like nostalgia button for
Yeah.
me. It's like, oh yeah, burnt.
But to be honest though,
Yeah.
I feel like I can't get the koge as much as I could at Korean restaurants in the States. Like I remember when I would do like the stone pot bibimbap in Seattle and
Yeah.
stuff. I could get it like super crunchy,
Yeah.
whatever. But here, when I try my best, but I can't get it to that same level.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like,
Yeah.
man, so I'm going to the States tomorrow, and the one thing that I'm really looking forward to is bacon.
Yeah, man.
Yeah.
Bacon's it's such a big difference. I would say the difference between American bacon and Japanese bacon is probably the same difference as like I don't want to compare it to sushi because that's just too easy. I'm trying to think of like something else. Rice.
Mm-hmm.
Getting rice in the US versus getting rice in Japan.
Dude, but if you say that means that American bacon's a lot worse because rice in Japan is way better than American rice.
No, but that's what I'm saying.
No.
I'm comparing like
Mhm.
Japanese rice I would consider to be like really delicious.
Yeah.
Whereas like American rice is kind of like not.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Are you okay, man?
Yeah.
Okay. Don't
Yeah,
worry about it. It's fine.
this analogy isn't lining up as much as I thought it would. But my point is,
Yeah.
I like American bacon.
Yeah,
I
right.
like Japanese bacon.
Right. Well, for all the Japanese people living in
Yeah.
the United States, because there are a lot of people who
Yeah.
watch this, if you want to get Japanese style bacon, you need to get Canadian bacon.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that's another thing. It's you almost can't even compare the two.
Yeah.
Because they're literally just two different things.
Yeah, Japanese bacon is Canadian bacon in my
Yeah.
mind.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's good, right? It's like I get Canadian bacon on my Hawaiian pizza, for example.
I never liked Canadian bacon very much.
Oh,
But
really?
I was never a ham guy anyways.
Oh, that's fair. I love ham.
Yeah. I'm Greek. We like lamb. I had lamb for lunch today.
Did you?
Yeah. Well, that was at the curry place, but
Oh, I didn't even notice there was lamb in that.
yeah.
Okay.
There was a big lamb shank on it.
Oh,
the rice.
fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
But okay, so we've talked a little bit about the differences, but let's go back to another food you had in Japan that was really weird or that you weren't really used to.
Okay. So when I first came here, I visited, oh God, I should know this place. Tsukiji.
Tsukiji, yeah.
Tsukiji is like, the best way that I can compare it to is it's Pike's Place Market.
Yeah, it's the fish market.
It actually isn't in Tsukiji anymore. Did you know that?
Yeah, they changed it to Toyosu, yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, it's this huge fish market, and it's famous around Tokyo as like being the place to get like the best quality fish, right? And so I went there with a friend, and he had me try salmon eggs.
Salmon eggs, okay.
And that was...
Is that ikura?
Yes.
Okay.
And that was something that really like threw me off because I've never considered the concept of eating salmon eggs before.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know the thing. So I had.
That really surprised me.
Yeah, don't worry about it. Yeah. So that I heard. So I had salmon eggs when I was in the States. Salmon roe when I was in the States. But one thing I didn't have until I got here was kazunoko, which is another type of fish eggs.
Okay.
But kazunoko comes in like a really hard pack. So like if I had to describe what it was like, have you had like quinoa?
Quinoa.
Polenta?
I don't think I have.
So just imagine really, really, really small, like corn. What do you corn grains? Corn pieces? Kernels.
Yeah.
Imagine just you have like really, really small, like this small corn kernels just packed into like a tube shape.
Oh, interesting.
And it's super tightly packed.
Yeah.
And they really stick together a lot. So even if you bite it, it's not like it just like pours out. It's like you're eating something really hard and crunchy, but it's fish eggs. And it didn't taste like anything to me. It was more of just like, it gives you that kind of crunchy texture, but it just felt weird to me because it didn't even really have a taste for me. I was like, I wonder why people eat this because it's just taste. It's just texture, no taste for me.
Interesting.
Yeah. So if we're talking about crunchy things, that was like the one crunchy thing that I can think of that's like traditionally Japanese.
That sounds really wild, man.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a whole different world, you know?
Yeah, it's really kind of crazy. I mean, like even something as simple as have you ever had sea grapes before?
Oh yeah, so imagine it's like sea grapes just really tightly packed together. That's what kazunoko is like.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, cuz you know, I've been to it's kind of like a popular dish when you go to like Okinawan restaurants is you eat sea grapes. Yeah. And the whole concept of sea grapes was just weird to me.
Yeah.
Cuz it's like, so wait, these are just like grapes? Yep. Well, and they're from the ocean. Yep.
How? But they're a lot smaller and they're like...
It's weird.
Yeah.
It's so weird, but then you taste them and it's like, all right, this ain't bad. Like, I actually kind of like these.
Yeah, it's a different texture, but we don't really have anything like that in the United States, right?
No, not at all. And it's like, they're, I mean, they resemble grapes, right?
Yeah.
But it's like, they're kind of like little tiny water balloons.
Yeah.
I don't know how else to explain them.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, it's so there's so much food here that is so different.
Yeah.
Just not even talking about taste. So I can't even taste anything right now.
Yeah.
So we might as well just not even talk about that. But just the texture stuff, right? It's so different from what I think the rest of the world is used to. That I think there's a reason why I think a lot of people when they come to Japan are very hesitant about trying the food here. Yeah. And it doesn't even come from a matter of like, I don't know if this is going to taste good, but it's just so alien.
Yeah, it's like you wouldn't even for a lot of Americans, you wouldn't even consider that food.
Yeah. So, I mean, obviously for those who, I think most of our audience is Japanese, but those of you who are not Japanese, who are not familiar with Japanese food, like, give it a try.
Yeah.
just get out of your comfort zone, and I think you'll realize why Japan is like considered one of the best places in the world for food.
Yeah.
But it's just, like if you're not somebody who's adventurous, it's really hard to come out of your shell because the food here looks so different than what we would recognize as like Americans or Westerners as food.
Yeah, it's almost like, hey, you didn't even cook this. Is this food?
Yeah.
You know, like what is this?
Yeah.
But so speaking on that note, for our Japanese viewers, what would you say is some food that they could safely introduce to like maybe an American or like a European person coming over that's kind of like a safe food?
Yeah. I think for me, just coming from my experience when I was a high school student coming over here, because I was a picky eater when I was a kid.
Okay.
Even among Western foods, like I didn't even eat a hamburger until I was like 10.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Well, actually, me too, but we'll say that for another time.
But for me, what my host family would make is they would make gyoza and they would make yakisoba, right? And it's like, as a Westerner, I think most Westerners are kind of familiar with some form of like stir fry, right? Yeah. And gyoza, I mean, gyoza is gyoza, right? But the concept of like pot stickers is something that's kind of universal in the world. Like every culture has their own version of like what gyoza is.
Yeah, right.
Right? It's like you just wrap some meat and veggies in a thing and you cook it.
Yeah.
Right? So it's like introducing that food to somebody and then kind of branching out from there, I think would be a good way to go about it.
Yeah, I think a good kind of intermediary food is okonomiyaki with the katsuobushi on it.
Yeah.
You know, especially those fish flakes. Because I remember when I was in Kentucky and I was I made okonomiyaki for some friends who their only experience with Japanese food was hibachi, or here they say teppanyaki, right?
Yeah.
And so I made it, and at first they saw the fish flakes. They're like, "What is this? This
all
is
the
so
fish
weird."
flakes like moving
because they're
around,
moving around, right? But they still taste good. So I mean, that's the next step, and then slowly move into more of the, I would say, the raw foods and the slime foods. Like, so for Americans, just to like make it super clear, I was taught growing up that if I ate raw eggs, I was going to go to the hospital. Yep. Maybe die.
Yep.
And so when I first had raw egg here, I almost got nauseous just because I'm like, oh, I'm eating raw egg.
Yeah.
Like it was gross because it's like eating food that you found on the ground in an alleyway. Yeah. Like that's how dirty it is for me, Yeah. So maybe save that for later.
Yeah. No, I completely agree. I really think that it's just such a cultural aversion to that sliminess. It's like, because like for me, when I think of slimy, I think of like, it's spoiled.
Yeah.
Or it's gone bad, or like there's mold or mildew on it. And it's like that. So I have that connection to sliminess when I think of food.
That makes a lot of sense, actually. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's really hard for me to try slimy food here because it's like, that's what my brain, even living here for 7 years now, like my brain still connects that, and it's like, oh, and I have to remind myself, it's like, no, it's supposed to be like this.
Yeah, I know this is the way it should be, but you have to kind of like switch that. Yeah, and that's really tough for a lot of people,
Yeah.
Like, so for a lot of Americans, what they imagine Japanese food to be is sushi and ramen.
Sure,
like sushi and ramen. That's about it.
Yeah.
So anything other than that is going to be a bit of an adventure.
Yeah.
But anyways, man, I feel like we've talked a lot about this.
No, this was fun.
Yeah.
I like this one.
So please share good food with foreign visitors in Japan. I'm counting on you. Okay, all right. I don't know why I did that.
And also, just please do not put mayonnaise on corn on pizza.
No, that's delicious, man.
No.
Yeah, please continue to put mayonnaise on corn. Japanese mayonnaise is awesome.
No, it's not an acceptable form of flavor of pizza.
Okay, we're ending this right now.